In the farthest reaches of the north, ice once built an impregnable kingdom. On that white battlefield, every journey was written by instinct, blood, and the memory of thousands of years. But when the fortress began to disintegrate, even the rulers were stripped of their own battlefield. And when the map of survival was redrawn, only those who changed in time would still have a place in tomorrow. Wild migration in Alaska, the caribou's most epic journey. At the edge of the taiga forest in northern Canada, where the last pine canopies fade into the cold mist, a faint sound rises from the white expanse. The first footsteps of an ancient journey. No signal, no guide. But at this very moment, the clock within their bodies awakens again. The caribou herd heads north, not because life is easier there, but because if they do not set out, the next generation may never begin. Their bodies are built for that journey. Their wide, flat hooves grip the ice, then spread like paddles when crossing water. Two layers of fur hold pockets of air, keeping warmth against the cold wind. Every step, every strand of fur serves one purpose: to go farther before winter returns. More than 5,000 kilometers lie ahead. Ice, fierce winds, fractured terrain, and cold water drains their strength. The destination is the tundra of Nunavut, where the snow melts late and the calving season lasts only a short time. They are not seeking a safe place. They travel to give birth in time before that window closes. But when thousands of bodies follow the same path, they do not only signal the calving season, they also awaken those who have been waiting behind them. The caribou herd is not alone. Behind them, in the taiga forest, the gray wolf pack has also set out. They do not rush to attack, only quietly keep their distance, because the long journey itself will reveal the weakest. An exhausted calf, a pregnant female, or an individual a few steps behind the herd. For the wolves, that is enough. After many days, the caribou herd stops beside an exposed frozen lake. They do not choose this place because it is comfortable, but because danger cannot remain hidden. If they are attacked, the entire herd still has open space to run. Even resting is a survival choice. The wolves finally catch up. They watch every breath, every step, and every individual straying from the center of the herd. On solid ice, caribou can reach nearly 80 kilometers per hour, while wolves can reach only about 50. But the wolves do not need to be faster. They drive the prey herd toward deep snow and stunted trees, where every leap becomes more difficult and the distance narrows with each step. This is not a hunt based on speed, but one of attrition. When a calf staggers, the balance immediately shifts. A small shadow disappears into the snow. No roar, no hatred, only the price the journey demands. The caribou continue on. The wolves stay behind. Both survive because of the migration. But there are still 600 kilometers ahead. The Kobuk River cuts across the northward route with a strip of black water, 1 to 3 degrees Celsius, and flowing at nearly 9 kilometers per hour. A calf can become hypothermic in just 4 minutes. No bridge, No way around. One individual steps into the water, then the entire herd rushes in after it. Antlers rise above the waves, hooves spread like paddles, and hollow fur retains warmth. Caribou can swim for many kilometers, but not all of them reach the shore. The survivors make it ashore, shake off the water, and continue toward the calving season. Traveling with the herd protects the majority, but also exposes the weakest. For the caribou, the path remains, even if it comes at a cost. But what happens when the path to survival disappears? If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to like and subscribe to the Prime Nature channel, helping us continue creating the highest quality wildlife documentaries we possibly can. Don't forget to leave a comment telling us what you thought of this video and which country you're watching from, so we can connect with you and get to know our community even better. May God bless you all with health, peace, and a love for nature. In the middle of the Arctic Ocean, Svalbard was once a fortress of ice. The cold does not only punish life, it also gives polar bears a white battlefield where their massive bodies can approach prey while leaving almost no trace. But that fortress is collapsing. Svalbard is now warming 6 times faster than the global average. As the sea ice retreats, the advantage that once placed the Arctic's most powerful predator at the top of the food chain is also being stripped away from beneath its feet. Ahead is a bearded seal. Between the two lies 180 meters of open water. No ice edge for an ambush, no rocky outcrop for cover, nowhere sufficient to hide the bear. If it wants to eat, it must swim. It lowers its head, glides close to the surface, and tries to blend into every rhythm of the waves. Every meter closer consumes energy, but the more it closes the distance, the greater the risk of being detected. This is no longer a hunt of strength, but a gamble of silence. The seal only needs to detect an unusual movement. The bear stops in the middle of the water. But on the open sea, even remaining still cannot make a giant invisible. The seal turns its head, then disappears beneath the surface. No roar, no pursuit. Only the bear's white breath remains, gradually fading into the wind. Over the past 2 decades, melting ice has caused the number of successful hunts by polar bears to decline by as much as 35%. The strength remains, but all of its weapons evolved for a world with ice. When the ice disappears, the ruler does not fail because it is weaker than its prey, but because the battlefield no longer belongs to it. An adult bear can still try again another day. But behind it, a new generation is stepping into its first battle, on the ice melting beneath its feet. In Svalbard, a mother bear leads her 2 cubs, newly emerged from the den, out onto the sea ice. They were born on land, but the true kingdom of polar bears lies out there, on the ocean locked beneath a layer of white ice. Time is short. Before the thawing season widens the cracks, both cubs must learn to walk, keep their balance, and stay close to their mother on ground that is never completely still. But that first fortress of their lives is gradually losing its ability to protect them. Over 30 years, the sea ice in Svalbard has thinned by nearly 40%. For the 2 cubs, their first lesson in survival begins on a foundation that is fracturing. The smaller cub begins to slow down. It is cold, exhausted, and does not yet understand why the ground beneath its feet keeps moving. If its vulnerable young body stays wet for too long, or the cold wind penetrates its fur, its body temperature can plummet in less than 10 minutes. The mother bear keeps walking. Hunger pulls her forward. The thawing season tightens the time behind her, but a weak cry makes her stop in the middle of the white battlefield. Continue and leave the slower one behind, or turn back and put all three in danger? There are ancient commands stronger than hunger itself. The mother bear turns back, lowers her body, and uses it to push the cub to its feet. Today, there is no meal, no clear progress, only a small victory amid the frozen landscape. All three are still together. Nearly half of polar bear cubs do not survive to their first birthday. But while their mother is still beside them, that sentence has not yet been fully decided. Three months pass. The cubs that once staggered on the first ice of their lives are now swept into a journey with no way back. The continuous stretch of ice has broken into separate flows, forcing the mother bear into the water, while the two cubs can only swim after her. Each kick through the cold water consumes 5 times as much energy as walking. The larger cub still maintains formation. The smaller cub begins to fall behind. But the mother bear cannot stop. Hunger has exceeded the limits of endurance, and in the wind ahead, the cries of seagulls are signaling life. Somewhere on the rocky island, there is still food. The mother bear speeds up. The larger cub stays close, and both make it to where the chicks are gathering. For the Arctic's largest predator, a few chicks are almost insignificant. But for bodies that have fought for hours in the cold water, every piece of meat is the fuel that determines whether they still have enough strength to keep going. If the smaller cub makes it there in time, it still has a chance. But it arrives too late. The food is gone. The mother and the larger cub have left. It does not cry. It only stands silently before the traces left behind, as if it has understood the cold sentence of the frozen realm. In a world of scarcity, opportunity does not wait for those who arrive later. Then it trembles and continues on. Because in the Arctic, even exhaustion is not a reason to be allowed to rest. Ahead is a cliff nearly 15 meters high. For those with strength left, it is only a climb. But for the cub whose energy is almost completely depleted, it is a wall separating keeping up from being left behind. It steps up, slips down, struggles to its feet, then continues climbing. At last, that small body makes it over the edge of the rock, but the victory lasts only a few seconds. Ahead lies another slope. Its mother has gone far ahead, and the journey is still not over. This may be the stretch it does not survive. Summer sea ice is melting earlier than ever, declining at a rate of about 13% per decade. Polar bears are being forced to swim farther, remain in the water longer, and expend more energy, even though their entire bodies evolved to walk on ice. Skills can be passed down from mother to cub, but no amount of training can guarantee victory when the battlefield changes faster than the ability to learn. For polar bears, melting ice is tearing apart the path to survival beneath their feet. But beneath the surface, those very cracks open another corridor. From the deep blue darkness, a silver-gray formation silently moves in. Narwhals return to this place every summer in a pilgrimage that has been repeated for thousands of years. They do not break through the ice by force, nor do they confront winter head-on. They wait. They wait for a small crack to widen into a dark blue channel, the only route leading the entire group into the shallow bays along the shore. There, the surrounding ice becomes a natural fortress, blocking predators and concealing this mysterious species from human eyes. A narrow doorway, but enough to sustain an entire survival strategy. Leading the formation are tusks that can grow more than 3 meters long, but they are not horns made of bone, nor are they ornaments of the ocean. Each is a giant canine tooth, spiraling through the jawbone and containing millions of extremely sensitive nerve endings, a biological sensory system capable of detecting subtle changes in the water, and when necessary, it becomes a weapon. Nature did not give the narwhal a sword incapable of sensing. It created a tool that can both sense the world and act upon it with astonishing precision. Beneath the ice, a school of salmon appears. The narwhal does not rush in pursuit. It approaches slowly, keeps its distance, then extends its tusk forward. A short strike. The fish is stunned in the cold water. For the first time, filmmakers have captured the moment a narwhal uses its tusk to disorient its prey before swallowing it. Not a frenzied attack. It is a calculated strike in which thousands of years of adaptation are condensed into an almost silent movement. In the kingdom beneath the ice, patience is not merely a virtue, it is a weapon. But that reward exists only while the entire fortress continues to operate according to its natural order. In some coastal waters, temperatures have exceeded 21 degrees Celsius. When the water warms to that threshold, Arctic char, a seasonal food source for narwhals, may disappear. The channel may still open, the narwhal pod may still enter, but beyond that doorway, their food supply may already be empty. The 1,000-year journey, the hunting strategy beneath the ice, and even the rare footage of this legendary tusk all depend on a system more fragile than it appears. Melting ice once opened the way for them. But if the ocean continues to warm, that very path may lead into a kingdom with no food left. The Arctic was once a white frontier where the ice kept the modern world out. But as the ice retreats, that ancient wall begins to open its gates. In just 20 years, the number of vessels passing through these waters has increased fivefold. New shipping routes, radar stations, and survey ships are cutting through the silence that once covered this place. Melting ice is not only changing the routes of animals, it is opening a highway for humans. Beneath ice up to 40 kilometers thick lie more than 90 billion barrels of oil, along with millions of tons of zinc, nickel, copper, and cobalt. Those figures are turning the Arctic into a new chessboard. Nations are marking their sovereignty. Survey ships are pushing deeper. Drilling rigs are appearing like outposts of an unprecedented conquest. But this treasure does not lie in empty land. It lies directly beneath the home of hundreds of ice-dwelling species. A drill bit can pierce the rock beneath the sea floor, but its consequences do not stop where the metal makes contact. Above, polar bears are losing the sea ice they hunt on. In the dark water, narwhals depend on seasonal schools of fish. Farther away, seals still need an ocean cold enough to sustain their food sources. On a map, it is merely an extraction zone. In nature, it is a network of survival, where a cut in the wrong place can cause the entire system to bleed. If coastal water temperatures exceed 21 degrees Celsius, Arctic char may no longer survive. When that food source disappears, narwhals lose their hunting season, seals lose their source of sustenance, and the predators above are pushed deeper into hunger. These are not separate disasters. They are the chain reaction of a system being dismantled, link by link. The Arctic was once a place where every living creature had to learn to adapt to the cold. Now the cold itself is what is disappearing. Caribou still cross rivers. Polar bears still search for ice to hunt on. Narwhals still wait for the channel to open at the right time of year. But along those ancient routes, humans are drawing new ones. Exploitation or preservation? Conquest or allowing nature to continue to exist? Because what is melting in the far north today may become a warning bell for the entire planet tomorrow. If faced with a choice between exploitation and protection, what would you choose for the future of the Arctic? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining us on this icy journey. See you again in the next wild lands, where nature still holds wonders.